y'all, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Kia Simone, and I missed y'all. Now, I am glad they gave us a week off of this bullshit. Robin brought some real stank energy up and through Aquarius season, but now that Aquarius season, football season, Rihanna concert season is all over, the shenanigans can begin. Of course, if you have not already, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And of course, I have to shout out my super thanksters. Shout out to Tech Mama, Yvette Greer, LL, and Staff J75. Thank y'all. I really appreciate y'all. Now, let's go ahead and get into it because it's a lot. So, to let us know that we have not been completely bamboozled by Robin and her schemes and scams, they start the reunion part 1 off with a clip from Robin and Gizelle's podcast where Robin is giving her confession of Juan's real dating life, and then they show us a clip from the Watch What Happens Live interview. So I guess that's to let us know all hope is not lost. It will be addressed at some point in these 3 parts. Now, of course, they start with the ladies arriving and getting dressed, and we see them coming in the wee hours of the morning. And I really think this tactic is to catch them before they're fully awake and knee-deep in their bullshit. So we see Karen's look first. Now, Karen was giving a clean, classic kind of a glam, but it was something about her hair for me. I don't know. I don't know if she needed a bang. I don't know if it needed some more hair, but it was something about the hairline, the super slick, super glued. It kind of was giving swimming cap. I don't like, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. We see Mia, and Mia's looking like she always looks, pretty plastic and prepared to lie. Then we go to Robin and Gizelle's room. Now, Gizelle looked like she just came straight from a holy convocation convention. Just what in the former first lady is Gizelle wearing? Why? Gizelle looks like a bedazzled fruit roll-up. And this bouffant on the top of her head. Robin didn't look memorable to me at all. Robin looked like she went and got an adult prom dress and showed up for work, said, make sure y'all give me my check before we leave today. So, of course, when Andy goes in to greet Robin and Gizelle, he congratulates Robin on being a newlywed and asks her, where is your husband? Of course, he's at work. Andy said, yeah, that's what I thought. Juan will be anywhere but in the same place as Robin. Candiace, I thought, looked really pretty. Now, her dress was bigger than her, but you know, sometimes you got to make a statement. Wendy slayed. Wendy was gorgeous. Now, I didn't really care for Wendy's look in still pictures. It was something about the mermaid neckline, the whole seashell thing she got going on. But in motion, it's everything. So we see everybody being seated and everybody accepts their assignments like normal people, except Gizelle and Robin. They about to lose their shit because they're not sitting together. About what kind of random seating is this? Please sit your asses down. Robin, it might be your last seating, so you really need to pipe down. So Andy kicks the reunion off, greeting the ladies, and he starts with Karen being the Muhammad Ali Alive shows. I ain't got time for that bullshit. Andy jumps right into it with Ashley, from her barely there dress to her barely there boyfriend. Now, first of all, whoever gave Ashley this homemade dress and this Lego people bob need to give her money back and get their ass whooped because you wrong. But anyway, Ashley was apparently dating some guy named Luke from another show, but Michael done come and run the man off. Child, it's the time. Gizelle is sitting up there looking like a Joanne's fabric roll about she's living her cougar life. Apparently, she's dating a guy from another show on Bravo as well. Now, honestly, I really think they're putting these people together to kind of cross-market these shows, but Gizelle and the guy do look really good together. Ashley explained that she is how they got together. Apparently, Gizelle shot her long shot and Ashley alley-ooped it. She went to her boyfriend, Luke, and told Luke that her friend Gizelle wanted his friend Jason. And so Luke told Jason, and Jason DM'd Gizelle, and the rest is history. And Candiace is sitting there looking like that's about desperate. Andy got to Robin and said, congratulations, you're a married woman again. How does it feel? She said, I mean, like it felt before, just more legit now. Robin pissed me off from the very beginning. I mean, every time Robin opened her mouth, I just want to clothesline her ass. So Andy gets to Candiace And he asked her for directions to Sesame Street. He said, because I'm going to tell you before the internet tells you, you're going to get a whole lot of side-by-side memes with Cookie Monster because your dress is giving a lot of Cookie Monster. He said, oh, is this supposed to be an homage to Cookie Monster? She said, yes. Yes, it is. And I believe that because now Candiace looked absolutely beautiful. I love the look. I love the aesthetic. But it did look a little bit unfinished. It looked like they came up with this idea, oh, girl, you going to be Cookie Monster and you going to slay the ass. And then they ran out of feathers and they said, so I absolutely believe that, yes, this is an homage to Cookie Monster. So they start the whole discussion with Ashley and her Stepford wife drama. They play her package from the season and it ends with her saying that as long as Michael helps her, this $13,000 a month mortgage will be paid. So the first thing Andy says to her is, congratulations on your new house. If you don't ask this girl if she's out her damn mind. He asked her, how does it feel to be out of the penthouse? She said it's amazing to be out of the penthouse. It's only 7 minutes away from where they lived. And yes, Michael Darby does have a key for the kids, for the kids. I said, here we go with that bullshit. For the kids is a I don't know how to move on lie I am so tired of hearing. Andy said, if my ex had a key to my house and I had a visitor, i.e. my hockey player boyfriend, I'd be freaked out. Ashley said, well, they have stipulations in place. Like, they have to give each other an hour's notice. Giselle said an hour's notice is nothing, especially to try to get up, get dressed, and get a grown man up out your house. Ashley is looking at everybody else like they're crazy for thinking she's crazy about guys. I mean, he asked permission. So the dragon asked permission to enter the dungeon. Okay. Andy said, well, it sounds like a big part of the issue with you and Luke was a boundary issue with Michael and Luke. And Ashley said that there was a situation where there was a long weekend and Michael was supposed to have their kids until Monday. Well, he decides on Sunday night, he's dropping them off. And so Ashley had to have Luke get up, get dressed, and get up out her house. Andy said, well, why did he have to leave? I mean, are people you're dating not allowed to be around your kids? And she said, no, well, what it was is at the time I had only known him about a month and I just didn't think it was appropriate to have him around my kids. So out of respect for both my kids and Michael, I asked him to leave, which is understandable and I agree with, but I think Michael did that on purpose. I don't put it past Michael to have some form of surveillance and know exactly what's going on with Ashley, okay? I think Michael knew she had company. And you think you gonna sit up and have company? No, you gonna have these kids. Andy said, well, do you think there's any hope for you and Luke in the future? Giselle said, they flinged it up. That effer just don't quit. Ashley said, I don't know. I started falling in love with the guy. Andy said, really? Yeah, she's really shooting her shot. She done found out she ain't getting no alimony and this is a public plea. I'm in love. Please come back. Please come help me with these kids and these bills and things. Please. Everybody is looking at her like she's crazy, like Ashley. You ain't supposed to fall in love with the rebound girl. Andy said, listen, no disrespect to Michael, okay? But if I were Michael Darby and I were getting divorced from you and you running around here TikToking everywhere, looking like you looking, dating hockey players and models and stuff, I would feel impotent. I said, Jesus. Andy said it must bother him. Is that hard for him? I said, is the pun intended? Ashley said she imagines that it is hard for him, but I mean, he's dating too. Well, he's been dating all along. The difference is you're now dating too. Andy said, well, have you ever met any of the women that Michael dates? Ashley said, no. Robin had the sheer audacity to pipe up and say, just when's the divorce? When is the divorce? Just give us a date. I know you lying. You got to have a whole lot of nerve to sit your ass up here and say, just give us a date. When we had to wait on Juan to be knee deep in scandal and on the edge of losing his job for you to get a date, much less tell your truth. And you would sit here with your overspritzed weave and your stale lie for sale about just give us a date? Just go to hell. Well, Robin pissed me clean off, but Andy saw the opportunity. He said, yeah, this is exactly what I'm going to use to get all the way in your business. Ashley said she'll be able to file for divorce in February. And Andy said, well, will you be getting half of what he has? How's your prenup set up? Ashley said, no, it just didn't work out in my favor. Excuse me, what? Ashley said that essentially everything that Michael came into the marriage with is his. And then any businesses that he started during the marriage, the money from those still belongs to him completely as well because of the source of the money that was used to start those businesses. So basically, if they made $1 that came from $1 that came from $1 that came from $1 that came from before this marriage, she don't get it. All the women are looking like this is some trickery dickory dock bullshit. What do you mean? What she means is he played her. That's what she means. What she means is she did exactly what we saw her do on TV. Sign some shit that she did not read and did not understand. Because you cannot tell me you signed up to play yourself like this. Giselle said, well, do you know how much he's worth, where the money is, how much he has? Ashley said, no. Do you even know who you were married to, girl? Robin said, so no lump sum payments, no idea what alimony might look like. Ashley said, well, according to my prenup, I'm not allowed to get alimony. Wendy said, why would you sign that? Because she's a first-generation marriage scammer. She don't know the ropes yet. The ladies start trying to come up with counter plans immediately. Robin said, child support, here we come. Karen started talking in her, we got to talk to a real lawyer voice. Karen said, listen, Ashley, let me ask you this. The money that he made from the businesses that were started during y'all's marriage, the money that was not invested that you made from those businesses, are you able to touch that? Because I think you can. In other words, I done gone and done some research myself. Ray know not to play with me, and I'm just going to put a little bug in your ear about what I learned. You think you can get some of that? Giselle said, but Karen, the problem is she doesn't know how much that is or where that is. Ashley said that she didn't look into it because her prenup was pretty ironclad. Girl, you better get your ass over there to Beverly Hills and talk to Sutton. Sutton might be able to help you because this is some bullshit. Mia is on the side. She needed another kid. That's what she needed. Girl, if you don't shut your ass up. Here this girl sits before you as a cautionary tale with 2 children and no real financial plan, and you think another child would have changed the outcome of that? You are on the edge of around and find out your damn self. Even Robin said so. 2 kids is not enough because Robin ain't having no more. I got my 2 to lock this mofo in. And I guess no, 2 ain't enough when you don't use your 2 eyes to read the prenup that you getting ready to sign or use your 2 feet to beat the street and take it to a lawyer to read. No, the 2 don't matter. However, the overarching lesson here is stop having children as a financial plan. Ashley done been letting the old man drag her for years. Got 2 babies she has to take care of while he is footloose and fancy free. She got to figure out how she's going to maintain her finances henceforth now and forevermore. The very thing that Ashley thought was going to be her setup is now her setback. Andy asked, are you coming out of this with anything for yourself? She said, well, yeah, my house. The house you cannot afford, that you will only be able to have for as long as Michael continues to make the payments. And Michael is so shady and snaky and slimy, I do not put it past Michael to move his money somewhere, play broke, and leave you to figure it out. She said she also has some language in her divorce decree that offers her safety nets. Wendy said, like spousal support. She said, yeah, I like that. Didn't you think you had language in your prenup that gave you alimony? Like, I hope you had somebody read this. So Andy reads a viewer question to Ashley where the viewer says, I don't think you're getting a divorce because Michael wants threesomes and you don't. You've been turning your head for years. So what's different now? Just say the prenup is up, the babies are out, and it's time to secure the bag. Mia said, but she didn't secure the bag. Yeah. Miss Viewer Lady, that's the problem. She secured the babies, but not the bag. Ashley said she really does want monogamy, and that's the example that she wants to set for her kids. Andy turned to Mia and said, well, I mean, you're married with kids and you don't share the same sentiment. You don't seem to be as concerned with monogamy. Whereas Ashley changed her mind once she had kids. And Mia said, well, they're not as free as they used to be because they do have all these kids running around. However, she knows that what it took to get her man is what it takes to keep her man. And if she stops doing what she did to get her man, she knows that divorce is the next step. So she said it's not fair to him for her to just up and decide, I want to be somebody different out of the clear blue sky. And everybody is oohing and awing. Really? Girl, y'all mama ain't never told y'all that? Mia might be crazy, but she ain't no damn fool. She said, one thing I do know is what it takes to get them is what it takes to keep them. So the next viewer question to Ashley is about Candiace. They referenced that at last year's reunion, Ashley said that Candiace is the least accomplished person on the cast. Now, this sidebar. Did Candiace not work with the Obama campaign amongst other accomplishments before she even joined the show? Am I mistaken? Anyway, the person went on to say that Candiace now has a flourishing music career, while Ashley continues to tell us how she still cannot afford a house without Michael. So does she still think that Candiace is the least accomplished person on the cast, or is that her? Girl. These viewer questions be the staff that don't really like them and want to get their digs in before the season is up, because I'll be damned. Ashley said, well, she will apologize to Candiace for saying that. However, she still sees herself as an accomplished woman, and no one is going to make her think anything otherwise. I said, well, if fake it till you make it was a person. Candiace interjected to say, I find it funny that when I joined this group, and I was living in a home that my mom was helping me pay for, a lot of people in this group had a lot to say about how my family took care of me, and you were one of those people. Ashley said, and I stand by that at 30 years old, you should be responsible for yourself. It was at this point that I accepted that Ashley is not mentally well, because you cannot be in your right mind, have any level of self-awareness, and say that dumb shit. To this day, Ashley is not responsible for herself. You just finished explaining to us that you just found out that you signed a prenup that left you Uno out. You going home to decorate a dungeon that is paid for by the dragon that keeps you in it. And you have the audacity to tell anybody they should be responsible for themselves. Are you out of your natural mind? Candiace said, but you weren't responsible for yourself. Ashley said, I had a spouse. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me you think it makes sense to ridicule generational wealth and find fault in an educated, accomplished, high-earning mother providing the best start and best life she possibly can to her babies, but the likes of you, who has trap meetings with your mother about how your trap plan is working out and making sure that you take enough shit off of a man old enough to be your daddy so that her and her man can lay up and do nothing and have that nothing funded by her daughter's back-breaking, baby-making work. Y'all should be praised. That's what you think? Please plan your next family reunion in hell. Ashley still thinks she makes sense, and she's telling Candiace, well, my name was on the home that I was living in. Your name wasn't even on the home. Well, Ashley, does it matter that your name is on the home if the home was bought with money that came from money that came from money that came from money that Michael already had? Does it matter? Candiace explained to her that it don't matter what your name is on because your name ain't on no bank accounts. You couldn't afford to pay for that house by yourself, could you? The fool said, no, I couldn't afford that house by myself, but I could get another one. Well, you should probably do that. Ashley had the nerve to say, well, it's obviously still a sensitive issue for you. Candiace said, yeah, because I was maligned incessantly for seasons for my generational wealth. And maybe if you're able to actually attain the decorations that he put in the paperwork to distract you, I pray you will have those things for your children one day. Girl, read her like the rainbow. Ashley said, best believe when my children are 30, they will have a house in their own name. Best believe that. Well, no, we don't believe that. I'm going to need you to go read that, because I don't think you know what's in no paperwork. You trust that Michael putting some shit in the will if you want to. You better go check the language in the will, because the language in the prenup done got you snatched up. You know what Ashley's real problem is with Candiace? Is that her mother is who her mother is. Because a lot of Ashley's issues are with her mother. She has a lot of unresolved daddy issues, but she also has a lot of issues with her mother and who her mother chooses to be and chooses not to be. Especially in Ashley's first seasons on the show, we would always kind of see her going back and forth with her mom about wanting her mom to be a better version of herself, about wanting to see her fulfill all of her potential, and, you know, her remembering her mom as this different version of herself when she was younger and how she had just kind of given up on herself. And I think that Candiace has the mother that Ashley wishes her mother was. Andy wraps up Ashley's segment by confirming that she will be filing for divorce in February and that she will be keeping her last name for the kids. Ashley also took this opportunity to address a particular moment from the season. She wanted to address the moment where she was talking to her uncle and she broke down crying about her and Michael fighting in front of the kids. She said because she was really emotional in that scene, but she wants to make it very clear that Michael is an amazing father and they are working on being healthy co-parents, and that's all that matters. Yeah, Michael done told you want this mortgage paid. You better go down there and clear that up. Now, during the break, Giselle and Ashley have a sidebar where Ashley is giving Giselle the details on, I guess, her breaking up with the guy. He didn't want to come out to somewhere where she was at. He was just stringing her along, so she told him it's over. She said she's pretty sure that they're done, but she's entertaining other options. Giselle said, let's entertain getting a divorce. Let's entertain becoming single before we entertain any more options. Let's do that. Yeah, you already ain't getting no money out this marriage, and Michael got too much pull in your life. Like, you need to go get this shit together before you go dealing with anybody else. So we move on to the Mia segment. And of course, we see the footage of Mia and all her medical mysteries. Andy starts her segment by saying, listen, of course, we're happy to see her happy, healthy, and alive. But what exactly is the issue? She started listing lumps and bumps and x-rays and all kinds of stuff. And Candiace asked about the sarcoidosis. That word be kicking my ass from the appointment that we saw in the last episode. Now, I must have been clearly confused because I thought the diagnosis was that she did have sarcoidosis, but that it was only on her skin, not on her organs. So it kind of looked like a rash. But apparently she doesn't have the sarcoidosis and it is just a rash. Girl, what the hell is going on? Robin said, well, is it a rash? What is the diagnosis? Shit. So now Mia is taking us the long way around the mountain about she has tissue growing in her reproductive organs, and they were talking about doing surgery to include a full hysterectomy, but she don't want nobody to take her lady parts, and that's why she can really identify with Giselle, and she wasn't able to reach out to Giselle with Giselle having a hysterectomy because it's just so painful to even think about it. This girl ain't well either. Andy said, well, there's a lot of speculation online that all of these issues you're having may be some sort of a reaction or a rejection from your body from all of these cosmetic procedures she's undergone. And she said that is something that she's considered. And if she did have sarcoidosis, then that would have been the cause, because it's caused by the entry of a foreign object to the body. Like, why are we getting all these possibilities and not what is? I cannot. Now, the next viewer question is directed to Wendy, and it starts by telling Wendy that she's a hypocrite. They said, because you went off on Robin about calling Mia a liar, only for you to turn around and be caught on a hot mic minutes later calling Mia a liar. Why do you like to pretend that you're better than everybody else? Wendy said she did own it. She owned it in real time and owned that she got caught on the hot mic, but she went on to clarify that her issue with Robin and Giselle was their approach. She actually believed that Mia had cancer. She gave her the benefit of the doubt. Andy said, but you called her a liar. And Mia said, no, you didn't. You literally said on the hot mic, everybody knows she's lying. You didn't think I was sick. Wendy said, yeah, because I believed you were lying. Girl, what? Like, how did you go from, I did think she was sick, to take a breath, and I didn't believe you. I thought you were lying. Girl, what the fuck? Mia told Wendy, you could have just said it to my face rather than smile in my face and then go do some snake shit. Like, say what you really feel behind my back. Wendy said, well, listen, my main issue was she's going to see a dermatologist saying that she thinks she might have cancer. That would be an oncologist, wouldn't it? Mia said, well, I'm sorry that I didn't have my opportunist husband to go with me to the hospital to film everything. And they showed Wendy in the hospital bed with her husband filming her before her procedure. Wendy said, well, I'm sorry that my husband was there. Maybe your next husband will do that for you. Girl. Now, she done bust her upside the head with that shade, but Wendy is still a hypocrite. I'm sorry. So Andy brings up to Mia that she announced on social media that all of their businesses were taken from She and G by his brothers. Andy said, I thought you were the CEO. How can someone else come take the business from the CEO? The ladies are already laughing because they already know this is some bullshit. Mia started telling the most exhausting scamonomics lie I have ever heard in my life. First, she starts by saying, when two parties jointly hold a bank account, either party can go in and remove the other party at any time without permission or authorization or anything. Now, I never had a joint account with nobody, with nothing, nowhere. But that don't sound right to me. And all the other ladies said, no, we don't think that's true. She said, yes, it is. It's very much true. Okay, here we go. Then she said they revoked her access to the company, I assume, because they all went in and voted a new board member in. Candiace said, well, who all is on the board? Mia said there's several managing members of the board. There were 2, there are now 3, and the other 2 voted Gordon out. Andy said, well, why did they vote him out? She said, well, for numerous of reasons. Well, one is that we partnered with a heavy hitter out of Virginia. I said, here we go with a heavy hitter lie. And the other 2 were afraid that we were going to push them out, which we weren't, because the whole goal of our business is generational wealth. I ain't going down this rabbit hole with you. Pick a lie and tell whichever lie you want to tell. But all this bunch of jumping around from lie to lie and subject, I can't do it. Everybody is confused. Everybody said, I got questions. Karen said, wait a minute. I have a question. If you're CEO, you're on the board, and you own 40% of the company, correct? Mia said, I actually own more than that. Girl, just. Karen said, so even if they voted Gordon out, when they voted Gordon out, you still have your 40% ownership. So why are you saying that you lost everything? Okay, listen, this is the lie. I don't know. She said they have management and they have members, and they are 2 separate things. And the managing members control the board through a vote system. When they are voting, they're just 1 vote per person. It does not matter what your percentage of ownership is. Now, Andy said, but there's just 3 people on the board, right? She said, no. Actually, there's a total of 8. This reunion is brought to you by the letters WTF, because how did we get from 2 to 3 to 8? Andy said, but just 5 minutes ago, there were 3. So how did we get to 8? Everybody is falling out laughing, and now she pissed off. She don't want to talk no more because this is not funny. I'm not going to sit here and do this, and they're going to laugh. And if you don't understand business, that's on you. Oh, not we the dummies. Andy said, I don't think they think your situation is funny. I think they're just trying to figure it out. No, your situation might not be funny, but the math is. Andy said, just help me understand. What is your current status with the company? She said she still maintains ownership of her stake in the company. So if the business sells, they will get a return on their investment, which is what they're leaning toward now because they just can't get along. Giselle got into the real story because see, you done took us around the mountain with this bullshit, so we gonna tell your business now. Giselle said, were the brothers not arguing about how the money was being spent? Because I thought it looked like it was some embezzlement going on. Giselle said that the accusation from the brothers was that Mia and Gordon were taking money from the business to pay for their home and renovations on the home, and they were eventually cut off from the bank accounts due to their misuse of funds. Mia said, but why would I go public if we were stealing? I mean, that doesn't make sense. They all said, because that's Housewives 101. We get ahead of the story. That's what we do. And speaking of getting ahead of the story, Andy said, yeah, Mia, you made an announcement on social media about having to move out of your rental home in Potomac. That same one that they invested $65,000 in renovations into? Yeah, that one. He said, yeah, so you announced that you had to move out of that house due to unforeseen circumstances. Were these the unforeseen circumstances? She said, yes, she's no longer pulling an income from the company. They are living completely off of their savings, so they had to let that home go. Andy said, so you were renting that big home in Potomac. Well, where do you live now? Well, apparently there was a slew of rental properties that they had to let go of. They had a rental home and a rental condo in Charlotte. They had this house and a penthouse in Maryland. And so now they've moved back to the penthouse that I guess they were in when we met them. Andy asked, why do y'all have 2 rental properties in Charlotte in addition to you having 2 rental properties in Maryland? This girl said, because of how bi-coastal we are. Me and Ashley must have gone to school together. They had to tell this girl that that's the same coast. Fool. Now, Mia said the penthouse that they've moved back to is also a rental. The thing that blows my mind is that y'all are making all this money and living this lavish lifestyle and don't own nothing. You don't own the business. You don't own the homes. I mean, you don't own anything. Ownership is the key to wealth. You can be making all this money, but if you have all of these expenditures where all this money is going out and it's going out into things that are not going to bring you a return on that money that's going out, it's just money out the window. These are not assets that you have. These are assets that you're paying off for somebody else. You have 4 rental properties, so you're literally paying off 4 different properties for people while you own absolutely nothing. And when the shit hits the fan and you lose your job and you now have no income, you got to get up out of the house that you spent $65,000 improving. So they own this house. All of the equity and value that you've given them is theirs. You don't take any of that with you. You don't put out all this money over all this time and you're back at square one. Even if you are in a position of ownership and you lose your income and you can't pay for these properties anymore, the advantage that ownership gives you is you can sell or you can rent so that they now become a form or source of income for you. But after all that, Mia said she wouldn't change a thing because you's a damn fool. So we move on to Candiace's segment. Now, when we get to the Candiace segment, of course, they roll the footage for Candiace's portion of the season. But in Candiace's package, they have some never-before-seen footage of Giselle, where Giselle is sitting in the confessional and she is sharing with us a message that she got from Chris Bassett, Candiace's husband. She said that within 15 minutes of them wrapping filming for the season, she gets a message from Chris that starts with, I'm sorry that we didn't get a chance to talk this season. He continued on to say, if I truly made you uncomfortable for that, I'm sorry. But I have to be honest that I was very angry about how this played out and about some of the words that were used. And so I was hesitant. Giselle said, because he said, if I made you uncomfortable, I apologize. She considers that an admission and an apology, and we're good. Andy said, no, I don't think that's a confession. I think that's him saying, if you were really uncomfortable for whatever reason, I apologize if I was the cause of that. I don't think that's him saying, yes, I did something to make you uncomfortable. And Candiace agreed. Candiace interjected to say, let the record reflect that he did send that message before we actually saw the season, before we saw all of the disgustingly egregious things that she said and the 15 versions of the story that she told to anybody who would listen. For calling Chris a sneaky link, for saying that she's used to men trying her and he was trying her to see if she was with it. So Giselle interrupts to say, and I apologize for that. Candiace said, to whom and when did you apologize for that? She said, to you and him. She said, you did apologize or you will apologize? Because I don't remember no apology. Giselle said, I'm apologizing to you right now for using that term, and I will apologize to him for using that term because I shouldn't have used that term, sneaky link. Candiace is looking like this is some utter bullshit. Ashley jumps in to say, well, you know, Giselle likes to add sauce on the things, and that's what she's saying. No, you don't get to play with people's names, reputations, marriages, careers, and then turn around and say, you know, I just like to sauce things up a little bit. No, you're going to have to go to hell. You know what it boils down to? What I really think their issue is they want Chris Bassett to be as low as the men that they are connected to. I mean, Giselle is known for Jamal Bryant and all of his philandering. Ashley is known for Mad Dog Michael Darby. I don't expect these heifers to be happy for the likes of a Chris and Candiace. They're trying to drag Chris down to the same level of the men that they are associated with, period. Candiace said this is the most gaslighting bullshit ever. Andy said, so you don't think she was ever actually uncomfortable at all? Candiace said, no, that's not what I'm saying. And before Candiace can finish, Robin jumps in to say, no, I know she was uncomfortable because as soon as we left the reunion, she got in the van and that was the first thing she said to me. Well, you can shut clean the hell up with me because we know without a shadow of a doubt that you and Giselle are pinky in the brain when it comes to these damn storylines. We know y'all will doctor some shit up in order to try to keep your job and keep your truth out of the public. So Andy clarified that the issue for Candiace was not Giselle expressing that she had some discomfort if she really did. The issue was that she chose to bring it up on camera because she had ample opportunity to bring this to Candiace before filming started. Just like they knew all about Robin's situation before filming started. And rather than have a conversation with Candiace or tell Robin's truth, they decided we gonna make Chris the villain. They literally co-conspired to make Chris being some villain a storyline in order to hide Juan being the real villain in a story. Like, girl, I cannot. Candiace said, you don't get to play with me, my man, my marriage, his name, his reputation, his job, accuse him of all kind of shit, and then slip I'm sorry in at the end of the season. She said you can take that apology and shove it up your ass. Giselle said, well, tell me this. Why would Chris lie about him being the one to come and ask me for the conversation? Why did he initially lie about that? Candiace said, first of all, we not entertaining this because you don't even halfway remember what happened. You keep a different version of the story. I don't remember this and I don't know it. I don't know if he said that and I don't know it. I don't know this and that and the third. So we not doing that. Furthermore, Chris is actually here because I have a man who will be seen with me in public. And so y'all can get the clarification from him directly soon as he gets out here. So Andy moves on to celebrate Candiace's success with her fertility journey. She now has 6 embryos that are waiting to be implanted. So girl, good luck. I do not see Candiace running around with 6 kids nowhere. But best of luck to you, girl. So Andy reads a viewer question to Candiace where they say that Candiace has every right to defend her husband. But the problem is that Candiace is accusing Giselle of accusing Chris of sexual assault. And that's problematic in and of itself. Candiace said, no. But she did accuse him of sexual assault. Giselle said, when and how? She said, when you were accusing my man of putting his hands on delusional Deborah's behind. Giselle said, everybody thought that. Everybody thought Ashley said that. No, everybody didn't. You, Robin, and Mia, the 3 blind mice, were the ones running this damn story. Robin had the unmitigated gall to pipe up and say, can we all just agree that it's not okay for a married man to be in a hotel room with a single woman? Can we just agree on that? I know you lying. when your husband is out here paying for hotel rooms for the stranded side chicks of North America. Now, if you feel that strongly about Chris and Giselle being in a hotel room alone together when they actually know each other and have history and had a purpose for having conversation, you should have had a whole lot more to say about Juan and this bullshit story that y'all decided y'all was gonna sell us about him going and dropping his credit card on the counter at the hotel for the girl. Andy spoke up to say he don't understand this at all. He assumes it's because he's a gay man, but he said it seems like something out of the Victorian era, that there would be this much ado about a man and a woman, two responsible adults, being alone in a room having a conversation. And it is. It's some old hookers on a witch hunt. It's some old bullshit. So Andy said to Giselle, it looked like from a viewer perspective that she and Chris had a decent relationship. Was she not concerned at all about damaging his reputation? Candiace said no. That's her MO. She goes around damaging and destroying any man she can because her shit stinks. So Giselle finally speaks up to defend herself and says, everyone always saying Giselle's always coming for families and marriages. And to defend herself, she starts trying to tell Candiace, well, you had so much to say about Juan and about Michael Darby. Candiace said, this is not an all lives matter moment. I said, girl, Candiace said, own your shit. You are the ringleader of maligning husbands, and she really is. So Andy asked Giselle, why didn't you bring it up prior to filming? Were you trying to use it as ammo or as a storyline? And Giselle said, no, I actually really liked Candiace at the beginning of the season. Giselle said she actually never intended to bring it up at all. But what changed that is when Ashley was saying that she was getting DMs from Chris, which she thought was inappropriate, and she felt like Candiace needed to know this. And Wendy said, that might be believable, even from a viewer perspective, if you hadn't established a pattern of coming for people's husbands and marriages. And it just so happens that you always seem to have a problem with somebody's husband right around the time that filming starts. Candiace explained that she saw Giselle several times between when they left that last reunion and that dance studio scene where she decided to drop all this on her. So she had ample opportunity to share whatever concerns she had. Giselle starts playing dumb about what opportunities did I have? She said, girl, you were at my album release party, dancing and partying and having a good time. Why couldn't you have told me then? Giselle said, so you want me to tell you while you're singing on a stage? It wasn't the appropriate time. Candiace said, so it wasn't the appropriate time to tell me off camera at a party that my husband had made you uncomfortable. But on camera on national TV was the perfect time. Giselle, go to the furthest part of hell. Candiace said instead of her talking about her uterus and what's happening in her life, she'd rather malign and with people's families and use this show to lie. Part 1 of this reunion comes to an end with Giselle asking, how did I lie on Chris? And Candiace told her that her dwindling uterus was waiting for her to put it on TV. Girl, it looks like next week Karen is going to be dragging Robin. Mia and Wendy going to be dragging each other about who gave their cookies to who. They'll be getting into Giselle's medical story that they completely overlooked during the season. Jacqueline is going to be coming to confront Mia, and they are going receipt for receipt. And there is unseen footage from Robin's Watch What Happened Live interview. Child, we'll see. But that's it. That's all. And I ain't got no more. Thank you so much for coming down here, listening to me and letting me get this off my chest. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, in the meantime, until next time, just like every time, I love you and I mean it. Bye.